One who was seized by delirium said, "Write a gift for my wife." Did not say anything. If he said, "Write a gift for my wife," and was seized by delirium, and then he said, "Do not write it," his latter words are worthless. If one became mute and they said to him, "Shall we write a gift for your wife?" and he nodded with his head, they test him 3 times. If he said no for a no and yes for a yes, they may write a get and give it. If they said to him, "Shall we write a gift for your wife?" and he said to them, "Write," and they told the scribe, and he wrote, or witnesses, and they signed, although they wrote it, signed it, and gave it to him, he in turn gave it to her, the get is void unless he says to the scribe, "Write," and to the witnesses, "Sign." If a man said, "This is your get if I die," "This is your get if I die from this illness of mine," or "This is your get after my death," he has not said anything. If he said, "This get should take effect from today if I die," or "From now if I die," it is a get. From the day and after my death, it is a get and not a get. If he dies, she performs chalitza and not yibum. If he said, "This is your get from today if I die from this illness of mine," and then he rose and went to the marketplace and became ill and died, we assessed him if he died from his first illness, and if it is a get. If not, it is not a get. So does that mean that if he says, "If I die from this illness, this is your get," and then he walks on the street and gets run over by a horse and carriage?
Well, that's really not from this illness. So then it's
right from that. Right.
Get.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. Dalit. So now this is dealing with the situation where he's given a get on condition, and we're not sure yet if his condition has been fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now he's in the situation with his wife where it's possible that retroactively she's going to turn out to have been divorced from him. Okay, so now the Mishnah tells us, he's not even allowed to be alone with her from now on. Why? Either because we're worried about him illicitly having relations with her, or just having relations with her as a way of marrying her again, which means that her original get, even if it turned out to be valid, now that he had relations with her again, he's remarried her effectively.
Right.
Okay. So he's not allowed to be in yichud with her, except unless there has to be some sort of shomer with them. Afilu eved, afilu shivcha, even if it's just an eved or a shivcha who's with them, chut meshivcha, but that does not permit them to be alone with her personal maidservant. Because she feels a certain comfortableness, level of comfort with her shivcha, and therefore there's a concern that she wouldn't be ashamed to to have relations with her shifta around. Okay.
Is that the reason why Chassid and Kala they usually both have a shomer with them today? Would that be one of the reasons that nothing should take place?
No. The shomer is literally to protect them. It's a bodyguard. It's so because on the day of the wedding, and actually my son-in-law informed me that it's actually throughout the whole Sheva Brachas week you're supposed to have a shomer, but usually they're shomering for each other. Right. Because there's a certain because they're standing out in the crowd, and therefore there's a concern that there are zikim that are out to get them. So you have somebody out there, somebody with them all the time who's there to protect them. Mahi ba'osan hayamin. So what is her status during those days? Rabbi Yehuda So it seems like Rabbi Yehuda is disagreeing with the Tanna Kama. Okay, that she's considered as if she's married because the way that Rabbi Yehuda sees this conditional get, it says from today if I die. He's reading into this an implicit intention that the get should actually only take effect 1 minute before the husband dies. So if there's no, therefore they can be treated as she can be treated as his wife in all matters, and the fact that he said from now if I die is just like a matter of convenience for him to say, but really his intention is that she should only be divorced a moment before he dies. Rabbi Yossi Omer Megoreshes for any Megoreshes, and Rabbi Yossi says, sorry, if it's effective, it'll be effective from now, and therefore she has to be treated in the suffix situation where she's possibly divorced, possibly not divorced. Yeah. Okay. Mishna Hay. Hooray, zegitech almanas shetitni li mosaim zuz. So a man says to his wife, okay, here's your get, but you must give me, but it's conditional that you'll give me 200 zuz. So he's effectively voiding the kesubah like this.
Right.
Right, because he's saying, okay, so I have to give you 200 zuz, but you have to give me 200 zuz then. Okay. Hooray, zo megaresh is vasitain. It's a valid condition. Because it's not like he's actually nullifying the kesubah. He's just saying, okay, there's a condition, you're going to have to pay me 200 zuz. So he's gonna, right? So fine, she's divorced, and then she has to give him the 200 zuz. If he says that this is your divorce on condition that you'll pay me within 30 days. Okay. So if she complies with the condition, then she is divorced. And if not, then 30 days later, it turns out she hasn't paid him back, then the divorce retroactively was invalid. Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. So Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says there was a case. So there was a certain guy who said to his wife, on condition that you give me my talus. So where's his talus? His talus is somewhere in her property. But after it's taliso, but his talus had been lost. So what did Ba'amr Chachamim Titen lo estameha? And the Chachamim at the time said, okay, so she can't give him his talus. Let her give him the value since it was lost, and that's all that she can do. And so Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel is saying that actually this condition can be fulfilled through giving the value, even if you can't give the actual object. Okay, and the fact is that the halacha is not like Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. That if he attaches a tanai, then the tanai has to be fulfilled literally, not by, this isn't now a halacha in Gittin. There's a halacha in Gerushin, and if he's putting a tanai, on the get, according to the halacha, is that tanai has to be fulfilled. It's not just that she has to pay him back for his talus. It's got to be literally according to his condition.
What's the word you're using? I can't understand it. Sal, you said give him his
talus.
Talus.
Yeah. It's talit. I think that is his. Is that not? Well, how's it translated? It's a beg your pardon. It's not his talus. It's a coat.
Oh, I'm hearing the word salad. And I'm saying, what are we giving the salad? He's going out to the garden to get this. I'm hearing this word. Can't understand what it is.
Okay. Good. And now you're making me think I need to put a picture of a salad on today's shear.
Okay. Okay.
Fine. Mishna Vav. Hare ze gitech. He says, this is your get al menas shamashi es abba. Or al menas teniki es bani. This is your get on condition that you will serve my father or that you will nurse my son. Tamahi manikatu. So how long does she have to nurse the son? And the answer that the Mishnah says is shtei shanim. The period of nursing a child is maximum up to 2 years. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shmona Asar Chodesh, and he disagrees. He says that the nursing period is up to 18 months. In my family, the tradition is that you nurse the son until he grows his first opposing teeth.
There was a story about a woman who was nursing her son, and this day and age, he was 4 years old. I'm not kidding you. 4 years old.
Oh my God, that's okay. That's a little perverse. All right. Meis haben. Okay. By the way, this is actually Gahati points out that this is not. The Gemara says that all she has to do is serve the father or nurse the child one day during this time period. Okay. So once she says, "Oh, okay, no problem." The way you put it, she can get away with. I can get away with just serving him for one day or for nursing the son for one day, and boom, my get's valid. Bye.
Because the son of the father died.
Okay,
Right.
now what happens? What happens if the son or the father die? Okay, Mesa ben or Shemesa av, or is a get? Okay, then if the child or the father died before she had a chance to fulfill the condition, nonetheless, it's considered that this is a get. Why? Because he's not trying to just make life difficult for her. He wants a service from her, and now that the service is no longer relevant, if the father had died before he had divorced her, he wouldn't have put any condition on. He just wanted somebody to look after his father. Okay, so now he has no father, so therefore, okay, as you get.
That's good.
Okay, so says so that's what the Mishnah says, is that this is considered a get. Now he explicitly put a time period that he wants her basically as an indentured servant for 2 years. This is the condition in the Tanai, in the get. Meisa ben or she meisa av or she amra av efshi shetisham l'sheni shelo b'hakpada eno get. So if the father died or the child died during those 2 years, even if the father said, you know what, I don't need you, please, you've been lovely and whatever, but I don't need you to serve me anymore. So even in such a case, eno get, because now she hasn't. Says Tanakama that this is it's not considered a get because the Tanai was not fulfilled over there. He wanted somebody to do this work for 2 years, and now why is this different from the previous case? Interesting question. Why is this different from the previous case where we said that if he doesn't specify a time period, he just wants it to serve for like one day, and the child dies before that happens, or the father dies before that happens. We said it is a get. I don't know. That's a difficult question to understand. What's the difference between the Reisha and the Sefer? Father is a get. Have you got a commentary in ArtScroll that explains why the two cases are different?
I don't want you to serve me in anger. The husband refused husband's father refused the service, although she had not angered him in any way. It's not a get.
Right, commentary on there.
Yeah, the get is not valid despite the fact that it was not the wife's fault. The condition had not been met because the husband made the provision in order to torment her, and
in order to torment her. Okay, the reason why he said 2 years was dafka to torment her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that actually makes sense. That like when he's divorcing his wife and saying no, but on condition that you're working 2 years. Yeah. Okay, fine. So if he failed to torment her for 2 years, then doesn't work. Okay, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel made because they get. He says no, that's still that's that. He said he doesn't see a difference between that and the first case. Klal Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel kol akava she'ena hemena harei get. If she was prevented from fulfilling the condition through no fault of her own, either through the father or the child dying, or because the father simply refused, he didn't want it. If he's angry with her and says, "Get out of here, you're useless," and whatever, then we say, okay, that's her fault because she wasn't serving him properly. And therefore, even Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel would agree it's not that's not a valid get. But he says that if the condition was not fulfilled because not through any fault of hers, then it's still a valid get.
Okay.
But the halacha does not follow Rabban Shimon Gamliel here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm pre-shachris. Let's quickly do as much as we can.
Okay.
Daled Hay.
There we go. Right. Okay. One who is half slave and half free works for one day for his master and one day for himself. These are the words of Beis Hillel. Red Shammai said to them, "You have provided a solution for this master, but for himself, you may have not provided a solution. He cannot marry a slave because he is half free, and he cannot marry a free woman because he is half slave. Where is it? Shall be remain because he is a slave, shall be remain idle, but was not the word created only for propagation? That is, it said, created is not a waste. He formed it to be inhabited. Rather, for the sake of the general good, his master is compelled to free him, and he writes a bond for half his value. Subsequently, Beis Hillel retracted and taught in accordance with the words of Beis Shammai. If one sells a slave to a Gentile or to someone outside of Eretz Israel, he goes free. Captives may not be redeemed for more than their value for the sake of the general good, and captives may not be helped to escape for the sake of the general good. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, for the benefit of the captives, Torah scrolls, phylacteries, and mezuzahs may not be brought from Gentiles for more than their value for the sake of the general good. One who divorces his wife because of a bad reputation may not take her back because of a neder. He may not take her back. Rabbi Yehuda says, if because of any neder which was known to the public, he may not take her back. But if he is because of a neder not known to the public, he may take her back. Rabbi Meir says, if he divorced her because of any neder which requires the inquiry of a sage, he may not take her back. But if he because of a neder which does not require the inquiry of a sage, he may take her back. Rabbi Eliezer says they prohibited this only because of the other. And Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda, it occurred in Sinan that one said to his wife, told him, if I do not divorce you, and he divorced her, and the Chachamim allowed him to take her back for the sake of the general good.
Okay.
Okay.
Aleph Gimel.
Okay. The following women are forbidden to eat truma: one who says, I am defiled to you, or one about whom witnesses testify that she is defiled, and one who says, I will not drink, or one whose husband does not want to give her a drink to drink, or whose husband cohabitated with her on the way. How must he deal with her? He asks her. He takes her to the court of that place, and they designate two learned men to accompany them, lest he cohabitate with her on the way. Rabbi Yehuda says her husband can be trusted regarding her. They bring her up on the high court to Yerushalayim, where they instill fear in her, in the middle of which is they instill fear in witnesses to capital cases. They say to her, my daughter, wine causes much impropriety, levity causes much, and childlessness causes much, and bad neighbors cause much. Do for the sake of his great name, which is written in holiness, so that it may not be erased in the water. And they relate to her incidences which neither she nor her father's family deserve to hear. If she said, I am defiled, she writes a receipt for her marriage contract and his divorce. But if she said, I am pure, they take her up to the Eastern Gate, which was opposite the Nicanor Gate, where they give the women suspected of adultery the bitter waters to drink, purify the women who have given birth, and purify those who have recovered from saras. The Kohen takes hold of her garments and they tore them, and if they became tattered, they became tattered. And Nahli covers her bosom, and he undoes her hair. Rabbi Yehuda says if her bosom was comely, he did not uncover her, and if her hair was comely, he did not loosen it. If she was okay. And we are now on Yevamos.
Yevamos, chapter 16, verse 1, chapter 1.
A woman whose husband and co-wife went overseas, and they came and said to her, your husband died. May not marry or take her in Yibum until she knows if her co-wife is pregnant. If she had a mother-in-law, she need not concern herself. However, if she departed while pregnant, she must concern herself. If Yeshua says she need not consider it. If there were two sisters-in-laws and each one stated, my husband died, and each one is prohibited to marry because of the other's husband. If one had witnesses but the other did not, the one with witnesses is prohibited to marry, whereas the one without witnesses is permitted. If one had children but the other one did not, the one with children is permitted to marry, whereas the one without children is prohibited. If they were taken in Yibum and the Yavam then died, they are prohibited from remarrying. And Rabbi Elazar says, since they were permitted to the Yavavim, they are permitted to all men. One may only testify that a man is dead if he saw the face and nose, even if there are identifying marks in the body, on the body or clothing. One may only testify that a man is dead if he actually saw him dead, but not if he saw him cut, hanging, or being devoured by wild beasts. One may only testify if he saw the body within 3 days. Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba says not all men or areas or times are alike. If a man fell into war, the
That's
way
it. I think that's 3 Mishnahs.
that was 3. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Shabbos. When may we save enough food for 3 meals? What is fit for people may be saved for people. What is fit for animals may be saved for animals. How so? If a fire broke out on the Sabbath eve, we may save only enough food for 3 meals. If during the morning, we may save enough for 2 meals. If in the afternoon, we save only enough for 1 meal. And Rabbi Yossi says we may always save enough food for 3 meals. We may save a basket full of loaves, even though there is enough in it for 100 meals, or a round cake of pressed figs, or a barrel of wine. And one may say to others, come and save for yourselves. If they were disconcerting, they would make a reckoning with him after the Sabbath, to where they may take them for safety, to a courtyard provided with an Erev. And Ben Masera says, even to one not provided with an Erev. And to there he may take out all the utensils required for his use, and he may don all that he can wear and wrap himself in all that he can wrap himself. Rabbi Yossi says he may don only 18 articles of apparel, and he return and don other garments and take them out. And he may say to others, come and save with me. Rabbi Shimon ben
That's 3.
That was 3 so fast.
Oh, you're going very fast. So,
I didn't have to
you're overshooting the the end point.
Ted. A paran is a private domain for the Sabbath and a public domain for Tuma. And similarly, the sides of the paran. Rabbi Meir says the sides of a private domain for this and for that. The shorefront beach area is a private domain for the Sabbath and a public domain for Tuma. A courtyard which the public enters on one side and exits on the other side is a private domain in regard to the laws of the Sabbath, but a public domain in regard to the laws of Tuma. These are the things. No. A potter who puts down his pots and went down to drink, the inner ones are tahor, while the outer ones are tameh. Said Rabbi Yossi. When are these things said? When they are loose, but when they are bundled, everything is tahor. If one entrusts his key to an amaretz, the house is tahor because he entrusted him only with the guarding of the key. If someone leaves it can't be 3.
Yes, that's 3. They were short ones.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're gonna do it.
All right.
Nothing.
Okay, Vav. And from where did they bring the wine? Jerusalem and Atulim are the preferred areas for wine. Second to them are Beth Rima and Beth Lavan in the highland and Kfar Signa in the valley. All lands are valid, but they would bring from these. We do not bring either from a fertilized field or an irrigated field or from those vines between which vegetation grew, but if one brought, it is valid. We do not bring from Elison wine, but if one brought, it is valid. We do not bring from old wine. These are the words of Rebbe. From the commentary, it is fit, and we do not bring either sweetened wine to smoked or cooked, or if one brought, it is invalid. We do not bring from espalias, but only from trailing vines and from well-cultivated vineyards. Zion, they did not store it in large casks, but rather in small barrels, and one does not fill the barrel to its rim so that it should be aromatic. One does not bring from its mouth because of the mold, and from not from the bottom because of the sediment. Rather, one brings from the middle third and from the middle. How does he check? The treasurer sits with his reed in his hand. When it is excluded the vein of sediment, he strikes with the reed. Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda says, wine in which is molded, developed as unfit, as it is stated, unblemished they shall be for you, and their mincha offerings, and unblemished they shall be for you, and the libations. There were 2 dry measures in the temple, the Issaron and the half Issaron. Rabbi Meir says an Issaron and a half Issaron. What is the function of the Issaron? All mincha offerings were measured in it. One did not measure with one of the 3 Essarons, Aronis for the bull, and one nor with one of 2 Essarons for the ram. Rather, they measured them by the Issaron. What was the function of the half Issaron? The kavitim of the Kohen Gadol were measured in it, half in the morning and half in the afternoon.
Okay, and that is it for today.
Okay, have a good day. Bye.
Exercise. Have a good one.